like this?
I love it.
It's your theme song. I love it. It's Lyn Christian in studio from soulsalt.com. Woo! How have you been?
So good. How about you guys?
We've been doing well. Things are, you've been busy. And as you get closer to the holidays,
it gets busier.
Right, busier and busier.
It only gets busier.
Yeah. So Lyn is a life and business coach with soulsalt.com. Before we get into what we're talking about here, you know what? We've never really talked to you as far as like what kind of, do you watch TV shows? Like what kind of music do you listen to? Just kind of getting to know you a little better.
I love jazz. I love Netflix. Right now we're binging on the Great British Baking Show.
Oh, cool.
Is that what it's called? The Great?
Yes, and
Okay.
And anything that's adventurous. So documentaries.
Okay.
All kinds of things, yeah.
You know what's a really cool? So if you're on Netflix, and it's kind of an interesting documentary. It's about Bill Murray. Have you seen that one?
I have not, but now I'm going to look it up.
Well, and it's about all the stories that people have about Bill Murray over the years, and they're all true. You know, like these weird stories where
Right. You know what? I have heard of this.
Okay, it's a really good documentary.
Has some amazing stories that you just get to see an inside part of his heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how he makes, I mean, the whole thing is they put this thing together. It's maybe an hour and, 20 minutes, something like that. It's not really long. But how it all kind of at the very end, you're like, he's just a guy that doesn't take himself too seriously, right?
Right.
And he just loves to be, just be. He's not like he'll just show up at like a wedding or he'll show up at like a frat house and he's making drinks or washing the dishes.
He's approachable.
Yeah, he's like Bill Murray's in our kitchen washing the dishes.
He's
cool.
He's actually an example of what we're talking about today.
Oh,
He's
really?
trying to be
Love that.
true to himself.
I like
I
that.
love
He's not living some other pretend facade.
Yeah.
He's just being himself, and so that brings us to the point of this alignment. We all have these characteristics inside of us. In fact, there's no specific formula or recipe or operating instructions that you and I come with. But you look at Bill Murray, and he's just living it out according to how his character and his guidance system tells him.
Being true to himself. I love that.
Being true to himself. And so if you and I are going to actualize our full, formidable potential, part of the thing we have to do is we have to find out what is this inner guidance system that tells us, like Bill Murray, to show up at this wedding or this home and help do dishes, just be a real human being. And we all have that opportunity to be a real version of ourselves and not what other people tell us we should, could, or ought to be. We don't let society, we don't let government, we don't let our boss, we don't let a religious leader tell us.
And you talk about being out of alignment. You can feel it.
Yeah.
Like when you can
No.
tell it when you're not like doing
Right.
something and being true to yourself, and, and it feels
It's uncomfortable.
wrong.
If Bill
Yeah.
Murray didn't show up with that kind heart, there would be something niggling away in the back of his head or heart that would say, you're out of alignment.
Yeah.
And it really takes practice to find this inner guidance. I actually have a hypothesis, and so do people in neuroscience, that this is maybe a function of how the neurons in our heart and gut system are actually firing. And once you hear what your truth is, like I have had many cathartic experiences. I talk about one of them on my TEDx talk, where you know what your truth is, and it's almost the hardest thing that you're going to have to do in your life. And it takes incredible amounts of courage and dedication to act on true character and the things that you know are right. And we're seeing that. I mean, look around us. Look at what's happening in the news. Look what's happening with your neighbors. We are leaving an era where we can sit around and pretend that we're something that we're not, or be numbed out.
Right.
Instead, we're all getting called to be aware of what is guiding us inwardly, not how to fight against other people, not how to make somebody else bad. The human illness is about who's right and who's wrong, when we're missing the middle line of what's real for you, what's real for me, and how do we find mutual success.
And I've been in thinking about it in the past, I've been in relationships where I just felt like I'm not me. You know what I mean? I'm somebody who I know I'm like not being true to myself, and I need to get out. You know what I mean? And I unfortunately got out of those relationships, but that's kind of a long.
You can tell you're out. So let's give your audience something to hang on to today. Right now, everybody in this room and listening, reminisce on somebody that you have been drawn to. You respect them or you admire them, and you go, wow, who is this person? I want to learn more about them.
Yeah.
And it's not a romantic drawn to them. You are drawn to them because there's something about their character or the way they handle themselves or the way they say things.
Yeah.
Now, find out what the one or two words are that help you understand how come that person has your attention at this moment. How come their face came to your mind when we were talking about this? What are those words? What's it for you, Jess?
Inspiring.
What's it for you, Frankie?
I don't know, invigorating.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think about that for just a minute, if we were to do an exercise, and I have one that I do with my clients, there's something about you in that word, inspiring. There's a piece of you that values inspiration.
Yeah.
And when you are inspiring somebody or being inspired, you're true to yourself. And when you're invigorated, Frankie, or invigorating other people, I mean, look at you. You have a platform here. You're both living true and in alignment. You know you're being true to yourself.
Yeah.
Words are not things. They actually express our inner world. And what I'm talking about is we all have this inner guidance system, a Be True system, a plumb line, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it core values. When you find those and you live in alignment with it as much as you possibly can, that's when you're being true to yourself, and that's when you're being formidable.
And that's when you feel alive.
Well, and I'll tell you,
Exactly.
doing this show, and this is something that I've actually talked to, like I've got a mentor and a friend up in Minneapolis, and we've had this conversation. You know, he does the same thing that we do up that way, and he's been up there for 20 plus years. But it's like, I feel so fortunate to not only work with, you know, Jess and Wayne and Kylie, but to have been here for 22 years, and I feel so fortunate because this is, I feel like I am being true to myself with what we do day in and day out.
Yep.
I mean, I feel blessed beyond belief to be able to do this for a living. You know what I mean?
Yep. And everybody in this room. I mean, Kylie comes and helps us get to you.
Yeah.
And Wayne, he always has his bright smile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you walk into this room, there's an energy because each of you is being true in your job. And if you can't be true in your job, and some of us don't have that luxury yet,
Right.
although I would like to push you toward that because we have a whole reinvention track of helping people do that. You can tell that the energy in the room is authentic, real, and it's buoying up hundreds and thousands of people in the audience that's listening because you guys come to work and stand in your truth.
I love that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
So you can take this quiz. You can go to soulsalt.com/quiz, right?
Yes.
Takes a couple minutes, and you can get basically...
Find out a little bit more about your
Yeah.
Be True system or see where you are on that little assessment.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
really cool.
So thank you for being inspiring and invigorating.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
We love having you with.
My
All right, so-
pleasure.